What is up, my fellow frickin' anti-netters and my Sheparians, aka subscribers of the Scott Shepard letter, aka the people who are really frickin' awesome and who truly support me and who are truly fucking badasses? Hello. And hello to you too, you frickin' shitweasel YouTube commenters that just jerk around and want free Zettelkasten freebie-seeking content about, oh, how do I set up my bib card, or how do I do XREFs, and all of that stuff. Yes, I am here for you too, okay? Frickin' fellow shitweasel. But guess what? If you just want to nerd out and take notes all day and not turn it into anything and just use it as an intellectual form of frickin' masturbatory masturbation, whatever the fuck word it is, then guess what? This video is not for you. You know why? Because it's all about freaking producing and creating content and creating your origin story so that you can be like me and frickin' sell a motherfucking book that markets itself when you frickin' sleep. And that's called the Antinet Zettelkasten book, okay? And so when I launched the Antinet Zettelkasten book, guess what? Chapter 1, this one, it was actually the thing that basically resulted in this book launching to the #1 best-selling list in the writing skills and study skills category. And yes, knowing that, basically that my freaking elementary school teachers, and especially my 8th grade teacher, Mrs. freaking Alvarado, she would shit her living freaking pants if she found out, I don't even know how to talk still, that I wrote a book that was the #1 best-selling book in the writing skills and study skills category. Because you know why? Mrs. Alvarado suspended my freaking ass in 8th grade for listening to Rage Against the Machine and being bored by her stupid lessons. Anyway, what I'm going to share with you is in chapter 1 of Antinet Zettelkasten, I followed a story. And the story is actually something that follows a hero's journey, okay? And this story is what I indoctrinated people in and with once they signed up for my newsletter. And so I go through in detail telling people the background of why they should even read the Antinet Zettelkasten book and why they should even care. And you see, here's the deal. As good old racist Teddy Roosevelt himself said, and I actually don't know if he was racist, but I mean, the guy frickin' looks like a frickin' walrus, and he was probably racist, so that's probably a correct statement. He was also a man who just, would fart around in the Amazon jungle and almost get killed with his son, his son was named like Kermit. Like, who the hell names their son Kermit? Kermit the frickin' Frog. Anyway, Teddy Roosevelt did say something worth a note, and that was, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so the reason why you want to craft an origin story, and it should be like the first chapter of your book, is because it's a framework for showing people how much you care about your subject. And it's the thing that will help you and help your intellectual work basically grow legs and run off and become the #1 bestseller in the study skills or writing skills category and make Mrs. Alvarado shit her frickin' pants. So that is why you want to craft an origin story. Now, for us marketers and copywriters, aka I am one of which, the best origin story framework for telling a story actually emanates from and comes from a book called Expert Secrets by the Mormon Russell Brunson. I don't know why you need to know that he's Mormon, but you do. Okay. Anyway, the Mormons are really freaking good at selling. They're forced to like knock on doors, at age 18 and just, basically sell the story that a freaking guy found golden plates in the back of his backyard in New York and how, Jews built ships and sailed to America. They're great storytellers. Anyway, Russell Brunson has a storytelling framework called the Epiphany Bridge script, okay? And in the Epiphany Bridge script, what he did was he took a storytelling framework from a guy named Michael Haig, or Hogg, however you say his name, that frickin' Hogg's name, and Russell Brunson put it into this script, this framework. And here's the problem with it, is Michael Hogg himself kind of watered down the hero's journey, okay? And then Russell Brunson, he does a really good job. And look, I've made a ton of money, over $20 million, freaking creating and crafting and using this storytelling framework for clients and for myself. And it's really, really good. The problem is that right here, right around this like new opportunity section, he jumps very quickly into like oh, tell like this the results of what happened and others' results, and it kind of gets into this like kind of copywriting, and a lot of the magic is lost from telling your origin story and your hero's journey. And here is where actually the magic comes from. Here's what the entire source is all based on. It's based on this old frickin' academic named Joseph Campbell, who's since deceased, and he wrote a fantastic book called The Hero with a Thousand Faces. And Joseph Campbell basically links together. He researches all of the perennial human myths, okay, dating back the last 10,000 years, and kind of finds a common thread of all of the stories that we tell that have taken wings, that have spread, and he puts it into this book. Now, to be fair, this book is freaking hard as hell to read. This guy doesn't know how to write for the freaking, I don't know. He freaking can't. This guy can't freaking write. I don't know how else to say it. You know, it's kind of horse shat writing. I had to like, you know, God, I don't even want to get into it. But it's just hard to read and decipher. Yet it is freaking magical. He has so many freaking concepts in here that are amazing. And so what happened is this guy named Christopher Vogler went in and he basically made it readable and understandable. The heroes, you know, the hero with a thousand faces for the common screenwriter. And let me tell you this: is George Lucas, you know, the creator of Star Wars, used and was mentored by and looked up to Joseph Campbell and used this as his basis for crafting Star Wars. Okay, and so Christopher Vogler came along and said, "Hey, I'm going to make this even simpler and kind of like, you know, make this easy for screenwriters to understand." And then Michael Haig also did the same thing, called it the Heroes 2 Journeys, and then it ended up, you know, being basically kind of created for marketers and people who wanted to use it to sell, you know, books, courses, whatever. And that was the Epiphany Bridge script. Now, I have used the Epiphany Bridge script many times since 2017, okay? And I've crafted an endless number of stories with it. And, you know, what I do is I, you know, write them out on note cards. I've got a ton of them in here. Let me see if I can find them. I'm just gonna, not even gonna look it up in my index. You know, I'm just gonna look it up. Let's see. Yeah, here's one right here. I actually wrote the sales page of the Scott Shepard letter, you know, using this. And this follows the hero's basically the Epiphany Bridge script. But what I did was, from my experience, I've learned that there are certain problems with it and shortcomings with it. There's a lot of the magic that is found in here and here that has been left out. And so here's what I did. And here's what I've been freaking doing is all day yesterday and all day today, I've been writing the third installment, teaching my impeccable origin story. That's the working title for it, okay? But I don't know if I'm going to stick with the impeccable origin story as the title, impeccable origin story formula, because I fear that none of you YouTube watching shitweasels can pronounce that properly. So it's a working title. I'm just kidding, but seriously. Okay, so here's issue number 11 of the Scott Shepard letter. And if you haven't seen it, here's what they actually turn into. I write them all by hand. And so in issue number 9, I started and I introduced the impeccable origin story, teaching this card by card, showing you, okay, you need to like create a card like this, you need to number it like this, and then here's what you need to do. Here's how you need to create it. Here's what you need to write, you know, in bullet points on that. And then, you know, what we're going to be doing is, after we create a stack of all these cards following these instructions in here, we are going to be crafting the ultimate origin story that you can basically use for your first chapter, just like I have in your book. And even if you don't want to use it for your first chapter, even if you have no idea what the hell you're doing in life, then you still need to actually use and create this origin story so that you can then create it and use it on your website, use it for your emails, and use it actually to kind of shape what you want to do in freaking life. It's like the best framework for getting your message out there and showing people how much you care. So that is what I'm up to. So for all you people wondering, that's what I've been doing the last few days. That's probably what I'm going to be doing all next week. I will probably create, you know, maybe another few Zettelkasten videos in the meantime, or probably not. Maybe I'll just create some more ranting videos about the Epiphany Bridge script and origin stories and all that stuff. So, bottom line, one second, let me like wipe my nose off camera because I'm you know, apparently getting sick from just ranting and cussing on YouTube all day. So what I want to end off with is, if you haven't checked it out yet, I write a physical monthly newsletter. It's my labor of love. The thing, I sit down on my ass every single month and I practice assiduity, which means sitting down on your ass every single month until you do it. That's what assiduity means. And I write a physical monthly newsletter that teaches you how to be a prolific independent writer, creator, thinker, knowledge worker, anyone who is a badass that wants to make multiple six figures by just doing what I do. Reading all day, writing all day, well, writing once a month, and reading books and thinking, and then just creating videos where I just rant on YouTube and I make multiple six figures doing so. And then I can also scale up. It's just an engine for my business. I can scale up to seven figures and beyond. I lay out all of the concepts, everything I teach, in the Scott Shepard letter. It's delivered to your doorstep every month. And if you haven't, check it out. I'm going to include a link in the description below. Peace and love, and always remember to stay crispy, my friend.